Welcome to the 14th episode of the Lobster Fight, guys.
Welcome back.
How are we? Are we good, Sean? Are we
We're
good?
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Why?
Because today is a very special day.
It is, mate. We're having another guest on the podcast, and we're very happy to have him here with us. Today we are having a lovely chat with Nick Cassidy. And I don't want him to present himself because we did that sort of with Andrea, and we felt it wasn't too nice for him. So I will happily introduce you, mate. So I've written down a few things about Nick here. And to the people out there that don't know him, maybe you'll get to know him through this episode. That's at least what we would like to try and achieve. Nick's a 20-year-old, very smiling guy out of New Zealand. So he's a Kiwi, for the ones that don't know. And born and raised in Auckland, if I'm not mistaken. And Nick's a racing driver. Nick is an absolute racing driver. And I've written down a few of the achievements that come to mind. Japanese Formula 3 champion, Super GT 500 champion with Ryu Rikawa, and Super Formula champion as well. 3 championships, all as well in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. Karting since the age of very young. I don't know exactly. Maybe Nick can get into telling us that later. And currently racing in Formula E championships. And it's the 3rd season for Nick. And he's overall number 3 in the championship currently. Pretty cool. Sitting here with one of the contestants for the championship. Racing for Envision Racing Formula E team. And Nick, I'm going to allow you the microphone now. Cheers.
Boys, thanks for having me on, first of all.
Thank you for coming on.
So I was nervous there listening to Fred introduce me. I'm like, oh no, what can go wrong, right? But that was pretty good. Thank you for that, mate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Done better than I could have done myself.
Yeah, but you've done it. You know, you've done that. So, guys, today we're going to have a chat about racing, about live. We all obviously live around the same place here in Monaco, but we come from various different places. And but let's start and get to know you a little bit. I think Sean has a few, let's say, initial questions to pop.
I've got a few quick fire questions.
Loosen
the
us
first
up.
thing that comes to mind, just shoot it out.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
cool.
all right.
It's cool.
All right.
Guys, just to be fair, all I've said basically on this podcast so far is hello. Everyone's wondering who the hell is this?
Go ahead.
And
Yes.
now we're gonna have me firing out random answers, and they're gonna be like, "What's this dude up to?" All right, let's go.
All right, Nick, do you prefer overtaking or defending?
Overtaking.
Overtaking? All right, do you prefer a wet or a dry track?
Dry.
Fair enough. Do you prefer home races or international races?
Home.
Ooh. Do you prefer street circuits or traditional tracks?
Street.
Do you prefer day races or night races?
Night.
Who's your toughest competitor?
Whoa. Pass.
Pass? Fair enough. What is the best racing advice you've received?
Oh, it's very, very simple. First that comes to mind is don't give up.
Awesome.
Everyone says it, but mate, it's key.
It's easier said than done, isn't it? Right, then, is it all team strategy or do you use your own instinct?
Instinct.
That's nice.
Oh, not if you ask the team.
No. But, you know, like that's cool because that's the first thing that comes to mind. Obviously, is like it's instinct racing, and I think it's cool. I was wondering, what's your favorite racetrack? You said street circuit, so I don't want to.
Yeah,
But
Macau.
Macau, yeah.
Very, very cool street circuit. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I like these questions that are easy, guys. I was expecting something like I had to answer politically correct.
No, mate. There is no. I mean, we are the most listened to podcast in Monaco, so don't get shy. But you know, you can answer everything that you want. I wanted to know golf or skydiving.
Oh, that's a tough one, mate. I really want to go skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say skydiving because I haven't done it. I would love to, but I am into my golf currently.
Cool, very cool. Music or no music for preparation?
Music.
Cool. Yeah. Brightest memory of your racing career?
Would be the Super Formula title.
Cool.
In 2019. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
What is the weirdest thing you've heard on the radio?
on the radio, like
On the radio, like the team
in
radio.
My team radio. Well, I've had some pretty weird conversations with my engineer this year.
What's an example for that?
Have you guys? There used to be an ad in Germany about teaching English,
Mhm.
and I forget exactly how it goes, but it's a German Coast Guard.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So I've had my engineer basically repeat this ad to me while I'm on an out lap, and I just had no idea what he's talking about. Like we'd forgotten about it. And 2 days later, he sent me this YouTube link, and I watched it. I was in hysterics. I was laughing so much, but yeah, we come up with some weird shit. It's quite cool.
Amazing.
That's the funny part. That's the funny part when you're there, you're in your race car, imagine, and then you just start hearing these voices and be like, "Right, mate, we're on the out lap here. Let's get ready, but let's have it."
Yeah, I try to keep it fun and relaxed, and it probably doesn't work for everyone, and it doesn't, even the guys you work with. So just to give a little bit of background, in Formula E, we're allowed 22 people at the circuit working on the cars, so in the garage, and then we have an ops room, which is a remote base, so it's at our workshop with all the telemetry, all the screens following the session, and we're limited to 6 people there.
Okay.
So essentially, within my team, I'm speaking to 28 people, right? But that's okay. It's professional and it's pretty cool. But then when you get me coming on the radio and saying, "Hey guys, have you seen the horse?" It's a bit weird.
I had no idea you could be that many on the radio, but that's a lot.
Yeah, obviously just listening. So it's me and my engineer, and I'm lucky that he's a laid back dude, and you know he can say stuff like, "No, I haven't," and "Where is it?" I said, "No, I haven't seen it either," you know, and we just you can have a laugh. It's cool.
This is what I meant when I presented Nick. You know, smiling, always funny, good chat.
Trying to be half as positive as you guys. If I'm half as positive as you guys, we're pretty positive.
Oh,
Yeah.
cheerio, mate, cheerio. I mean, we do come around a bit positive, but like
It's amazing. It's a really good quality to have.
that's good. That's good. I think it helps also in a serious, I imagine, a serious career and stuff, keeping it loose. For some people, it helps. For others, it's a stress. Like if everything is not strict in a certain way.
Yeah, everyone's different, right? You've all got your little things that you like to do or the way you want to be. I'm certainly not perfect. Even to what suits me, I'm not how I should be all of the time, but that's part of sport. You've got to work yourself out and try to put yourself into the zone that suits you, right? So
You're right. I was wondering, mate, I've noticed that you always carry more or less the racing number 37 when you go racing.
Okay, yeah.
Have you done that always? Is there a specific story about 37?
Yeah, so when I was, mate, I hope this isn't too boring for you guys. But
Nothing's boring.
But really simply, when I was younger, my dad did a bit of racing, and he was actually number 37. My brother was 27, and I was 87. So that was as we grew up. And then when I went to Japan, the 2 cars were 36 and 37. They naturally had me as 37 for my first year there, and we won the championship. So it was just something that stuck, and it was quite cool that it linked back to my dad, right? And yeah, when I moved to Formula E, I decided to continue with that.
That's cool. So you feel sort of a proudness of carrying the number, or you're not really too...
Just got like a little bit of meaning, right? So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, don't know if it's...
I just noticed
awesome.
it. You got me thinking.
Or ugly, I don't know, but yeah.
It's interesting because the racing numbers for some people I think are pretty religious stuff. Like if you can't have your racing number on your car for some certain reason, maybe there's another driver who carries it, or it's just...
What's your number? Number 1?
Well, I was... just for that, mate, I really do appreciate it. I've used 98.
98?
98, mate, yeah,
okay.
98, exactly, yeah.
And you got a reason behind that?
It's just my birth year, mate. Very simple,
Okay, fair,
basic
yeah,
and boring, but I like this, not this symmetry, because it really isn't a symmetrical number. But I just like the way it looks.
Fair.
Sometimes
So
it just...
So you've gone for the sexy part.
Correct,
Yeah,
exactly.
bang.
Tried at least. I'm
Yeah.
happy that you found it the same way as well for the number.
Well, I just, observe.
Did you always grow up like knowing that your way was sort of racing, trying to make it into a professional racing driver as you are today?
Yeah, I was always addicted by cars, motorsport, Formula One especially. And then I think if you can live your passion for as long as possible, you're pretty lucky, right? And I'm just kind of lucky that that day where it become time to get a real job hasn't come yet. So it's yeah.
Now, if racing wasn't your full-time profession, what do you think you'd be doing?
I have weirdly a big passion for business and marketing. So I think it involves some way in marketing, whether that's social media, fashion, those kind of things. I think, yeah, I'm getting more and more involved in that kind of stuff now, just because it's become something that I really enjoy outside of racing.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's like a passion actually, but I think with motorsport you can actually sort of combine those two, as motor racing is such a marketed sport now that you want the visibility of brands, you want the visibility of partners and stuff. So maybe there's a way for you to connect those two.
Yeah, thought about it a lot. I've just gone through probably the stage where, I've missed. I shouldn't say this, and I feel it's a weird thing to kind of say, because I feel if you're starting your career, you can really create a brand around you and go for certain something. You can create a lot of different ways to portray and show what you do in your career. Whereas I think now with where I'm at, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm focusing a lot on the performance side, not really on the marketing side, just because I'm feeling that's working for me right now. And then I'm more looking at how can I help others with that knowledge, if that makes sense.
That's cool. So it's actually that passion is also to help others, not necessarily for your own benefit only.
Yeah, and I'm almost a bit superstitious, where I find whenever I focus on those kind of things myself, then for whatever reason, and I never think it's linked to this, but the results aren't as good. And whenever I'm pretending no one knows I'm there, and I'm focusing on my gig and my job, then I seem to go okay. So yeah, I don't think that they're linked at all, but I think it's just a little bit of a superstitious thing in the mind, which
I think we all have those superstitious feelings or thoughts. So if you've figured out that, for example, it works for you now, why not stick to it?
Yeah, to continue for a bit.
Why not stick to it?
Until a bad race weekend, and then we'll be all over it. Yeah.
Exactly. and then you have the chance to just flick it 360 and be like, okay, I'll come up with something new.
Exactly.
I'll go drawing it before every race or something like that. Totally off-topic, weird stuff. I was wondering, how does a Kiwi from Auckland end up in Monaco?
Yeah. Man, long journey, right? I first came to Europe when I was 16, 17, just trying to get any gig I could in racing, whether that was, at the time it was Formula Renault Euro Cup. I was trying to get a test race seat there. But at that stage of your career, it's a topic talked about a lot, but you've got to bring money to the table, right? You've got to be able to pay to race. Which is just part of the game, but if you've only got a certain amount of funds, you got to work out, well, what's the most efficient way to do that? And it wasn't easy from the background that I had, but I kind of made it work, got a gig here, gig there, and then I had one or two good races that led me to Japan. I had all of a sudden a contract with Toyota. I was in a really good place. My career in Japan from the start was really nice, and I was very fortunate to end up there. But after a while, I was living this life in Japan, which I thought was amazing, lifestyle-wise, instead of Tokyo. Had a pretty cool place. Racing was good. We were winning. But I'm like, well, how much longer can I keep doing this for without being bored? And I had the opportunity to join Formula E, to move back to Europe. I mean, we've got a lot of mutual friends in Monaco, right? Which I think it's a pretty cool place for sport and for racing. So it was an easy choice to move to Monaco and be part of that. in combination with moving to Formula E. And I was at that stage of my career where it was then or never. Like, do I continue in Japan for the next 10 years and become bored? Or do I challenge myself and try to do something new again? And so here I am.
That's cool.
It's kind of getting out of your comfort zone was then the choice you then chose. Was the form?
I got out of my comfort zone a lot in Japan, except no one knew you. So the city was so big, so many people. Whereas in Monaco, you do that and you're in the news the next morning, right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But I think what I really respect about that and the move itself is that you were having it going pretty well for you there. You know?
Yeah, life was perfect.
Like you were winning races. You were racing a lot. You had a lot of time behind the wheel. To then give up that, go somewhere else, and trying to make it in a championship, which might seem quite vastly different from what you came for. I have huge respect for that.
Cheers, man. Yeah, it was I actually struggled with it the first, I must say, the 12 months that I was here. That because I think when I made the move was end of 2020, so it was, middle of COVID, let's say. Life in Monaco and in Europe still wasn't normal through 2021. It was pretty restricted. So I wasn't experiencing what I thought that I'd signed up for. Plus, racing-wise was pretty different. And honestly, I didn't enjoy it the first 12 months. I found it tough. I was like, have I done the right thing? But I think you settle into life a lot more. Your friend group gets bigger but more trustworthy. You know more or less what you want to be doing. And I must say over the last 12 months, that's got way easier. So it's been pretty cool.
I think for Sean and I, having moved actually here more or less at the same time.
Oh, you guys come at the same time?
Yeah, I moved here in I moved here probably full time in 2020 as well.
Okay.
So now it's like 2.5 years, 3 years and counting.
Yep.
And Sean used to be here for.
I mean, I've been here for like 6-7 years, but only in the summer times.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was, and then more or less as of then, it was full time.
Okay.
But like during COVID, like we didn't meet anyone. We didn't mingle with anyone really besides ourselves. And then from then on, like as of let's say the last 12 to 18 months, I'd say, is really where kind of everything opened up and you actually got to be able to do things again.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. It was for me, I had the same thoughts you had because we were moving here to study at the time, the university, where you are usually very social, where you usually have, everything in your life is like new, fresh, whatever. And you see yourself locked up in your apartment at 6 p.m. because of, you couldn't go outside your door. It was a bit weird. Finding friends in a place where everyone actually, or many people, are from so vastly different places that you meet people and it's like, it's a little bit of a funky situation.
Yeah, it's that awkward phase, right?
A bit, I agree.
Once you get through that and life's more open, it becomes easier to... Yeah,
because once then you've opened it up, you have so many different people here. As you say, also in terms of, for example, athletes you hang around with, I think we also hang around with a lot, is that everyone have their own story. They all come here for having a nice base.
Yep.
And you have your thing going, your racing. Sean has his thing going, I have my thing going, but we all have this time where we are in the home base.
Sure.
Having a great time all together.
Yeah, which makes it mega, right? And to have that balance where you can have your career, you can have your passion, everything going on, but still then be here and be amongst guys who are on a similar kind of wavelength and lifestyle is pretty cool.
Did you already have kind of like a friend or like a group of guys before you moved here that you knew?
So,
or was it like you came in and it was completely?
Yeah, well, basically, so Mitch Evans races Formula E, and Tom Blomqvist, he was racing Formula E in 2021 as well when I moved. We grew up together since we were like 6 years old in New Zealand.
Really?
We've been best friends since we were like 6. So it was then mad to be racing in the same championship against each other again and living in the same place as well. It was just,
Did it bring back memories?
It's like a group of 10-year-olds hanging out together again. Right? That's pretty cool.
That's crazy how three guys from New Zealand just end up in the same small place.
Yeah, and like we'd all been off doing our things. We'd all maintained our friendship and yeah, even career wise in terms of different championships and whatever. So to end back together racing against each other was pretty cool.
I think it's cool you can find that pleasure in the racing against each other. You know, having had that competitive aspect since the age of 6. You know, you're always comparing yourself a little bit back and forth.
Yes.
But to see all three excel in your own way, I think is so cool. Like you've all done your thing, right?
True.
And then you just end up at some point.
It's funny as well because, you know, as you get older, I think you get more and more mature about it. Where I think naturally you support each other more and more as well. You know, you got way more respect. I think you always have respect, but when you're 8 years old, you just want to be the best.
Yeah.
And now you still want to be the best, but you realize that the other guy's pretty fucking good as well.
Yeah, which is awesome. Which is awesome to also, like, if I had 2 of my friends that, if I go back home, like, let's say 10 years of swimming, for example, 10 years ago, the guys I was swimming with, I don't see myself in, you know, having a friendship with them right here in Monaco,
really?
Still doing the swimming career and stuff, and be that closely competing, but also in terms of friendship.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't want to say I'm jealous, but it must be cool to have that feeling. It's like home away from home.
Yeah, I'm lucky though, because, for example, if that wasn't here, then I think getting into, you know, life when you first move, as you guys discover, right? It's a bit awkward. You're trying to meet guys or people doing similar things, and I'm not really the guy to walk down the street saying, holding a sign saying I'm looking for friends. You know, it's
not quite a Fred.
Not the Kiwi way. Maybe it isn't the Kiwi way. But did you all when if you can imagine it or remember it, when did you decide like 100% racing is what I'm gonna go for? I'm gonna take my shot at racing.
Oh, I think you've got to be pretty lucky in life. Like, man, I've been so fortunate to have my parents be behind me to be able to get me into the sport, into karting when I was super young. You know, it's a passion when you're a young kid, but I think, I mean, it's not my decision at 6 years old to buy a go-kart. It's not my decision at 7, 8 to spend every weekend going to the go-kart track and stuff, right? So pretty lucky to have parents who basically gave all that up to support me.
What kind of racing was your dad doing?
Just club stuff like track day, some normal club meetings. He had a Lotus 7 type Caterham car, you know, and yeah, just he's really hands on. Really loves his cars from a mechanical side. So yeah, he did the driving as well.
That's really, really cool. I think for everyone that has a success history in sport, many times it comes from either, most of the time, this endless support from back home.
Yeah.
That you know that you can be confident in spending all your time and energy to try and get really good at something.
Yeah, true.
Because if you don't have that, it's
yeah, it's common. Like when you look around the world and you see the top sports people in many different categories, I think that's a common aspect. And then when you hear about someone who hasn't had that and still made it, for me makes it
a lot more special.
Yeah,
kudos.
Really special. Yeah, kudos to that for sure.
I was I mean we did speak about how it is like moving away 20,000 kilometers from your hometown, but like your everyday lifestyle here, how has that changed? I mean, it's probably like 10 years ago or whatever you lived back home in New Zealand or something, but your everyday, how has it changed to come here, being a professional athlete, living in a place as Monaco, where you can do anything basically, but you will still need to be focused on your career?
So I've gone, I guess, like I saw, you go through the different stages of life, right? But when I left home, it was basically leaving school as well. And so I stopped, finished up at school, went basically to live in the UK, and every day it was, oh, well, I've got 3 weeks of the next race. What am I going to do each morning? Mm-hmm. And, you watch videos, you watch TV series, you go to the gym because you're going to train, but you don't really have a structure. You're just waiting for the next race. Whereas when I went to Japan, I was like, okay, I need to put some routine into my life. And so I'm terrible at learning languages. I think a lot of that's from effort from myself to put into it. But I put myself into like a Japanese language school. Wow. Just to be, I wanted to learn some of the language, but as well, it was like, okay, 9 a.m. every morning you're at school until 11 or 11:30, whatever it was. And then from there, okay, I go to the gym, or you have lunch, go to the gym. And so each day then I had, routine in between the races. And that, I think, built some structure and some knowledge of, okay, this is how I'm going to spend my time. Each day is going to be beneficial to me in some way. And I'm not just sitting around home or letting time go by. And then on top of that, we were driving so much in Japan. So I was doing 2 championships at once. It was common to do there. But it meant most weekends something was going on, whether we were testing, racing, or whatever. And so life became really busy. And I just got used to this lifestyle that when I've moved back to Monaco, I try replicate that in some way. I don't like waking up and not really knowing what I'm going to do or having nothing. I think it's good to have those days, but I just naturally like being in some routine or having something on the calendar during the day that I know is beneficial to myself as an individual, whether that's for racing or just for general life.
I think I can totally relate to the structure, the need for structure. And like even for us, when we were just having, for example, school, and then you would still have, a gap of maybe 6-7 hours after school until, for example, dinner time. And what do you do in that time? Some days you would have shorter school.
Right.
What do you do with the time? So the fact that you've been able to, let's say, adapt your day to not allow yourself to just rest it out, chill it out, challenging yourself, giving yourself structure, it's really important. I feel it myself as well.
It relates not just to racing, right? It's just, I think whatever you're in, I mean, a lot of people have it naturally just by either, not if you've got a short school day, but if you've got a full school day, you have that routine planned out for you. And if you're in an office job, you've also got it kind of structured out for you, where you're in at the office at this time, you have these meetings, and you go home at that time. And so as soon as that's not there, and I find it important to kind of recreate that yourself.
Agreed.
Going to Formula E again. So you've done a lot of normal racing. How does that compare to, let's say, Formula E? Like, are there different challenges? Is it similar type of racing? Is it completely different? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah, at first I was like, wow, man, this is so different. This is so different. Not in a negative way, just new, pretty exciting, a lot to learn. I think anyone that comes into the championship, there's still a fair bit to learn. But at the end of the day, we're still just trying to drive as fast as we can. There's still qualifying where you've got 2 pedals and a steering wheel. Got a friend who says, at the end of the day, it's only a car with 4 wheels, mate.
Yeah.
And so you've got that aspect of qualifying where you're just still trying to drive as fast as possible. I think the race side is then what's quite different, because you've got this phase of the race or phase of the straight where you lift off the throttle, you coast for a little bit, almost like fuel saving, but it's energy saving. And then you've got a phase of the braking where recuperating a lot of energy on the brakes to put back into the car and to have more efficiency. So it means that, there's some different techniques to learn from the racing side, but from a qualifying side, it's still pretty much flat out. Yeah. And I like that challenge as well. I mean, I think you watch a lot of races these days, and Formula 1's been a lot closer lately. I really enjoy watching it. But I watched a lot of other series, and there's no passing. You know who's going to win after the start. It's a bit boring. Whereas in FE, man, like, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I really can. Following like the races, you'd be thinking, okay, this guy is leading now, all right, but you don't really have the pit stops. You don't really have that kind of thing. So it's really a lot of the strategy on the track, the attack modes, the boost zones and stuff like this.
But then you're still going to be fast, right? So
exactly.
All that's going on, but you're still going to be fast. And and the last 2 races now, been leading with 8 laps to go. Any other championship, you're like, all right, what does the trophy look like, and where's the after party? You know, but in Formula E, 8 laps to go, you're like,
it's a lot closer.
Anything can happen. Yeah.
Speaking of the last races, you've done really well recently. Like last race was in Brazil, right? Got second there.
Yeah, last race has been good, man. But there's still like so long to go in the championship. Still 10 races left. We're still pretty. Or the season's still young, so.
Is a Kiwi talking here, you know, talking it down,
Nah,
talking it down.
Got to talk it down. Like
of course.
I've just been saying, you know, the races are crazy and anything can happen, and I'm sure maybe one of these next races, it could even be my next race. It's a no points or it's a tough day, and that's part of the sport, right? So, been amazing to have some good ones, but try not to really celebrate them yet because it's still so long to go.
But do you think that with the let's say the podiums, I know you've had 3 podiums this season, and they've been consecutive. Yeah. And let's say the first 3 races you were doing X position, then X position, and then you kind of got it, podium there, podium there, podium there. Do you feel that there is this flow sort of thing you're riding on, that you feel with the previous race or something that, okay, I can definitely do it again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, saying that, I think the next track has been a bit of a bogey track for us the last few years. So it's nice to, in a way, almost have that, because it keeps you on your toes. It doesn't let you get too confident. You know that the next one's still going to be tough, that I got to work my ass off to be prepared as best as I can, because it's not going to be easy, right? But certainly the last few races have given you big confidence. I mean, I can walk into nightclubs now with my sunglasses on.
With there. But I know that the next races you have coming up in Berlin, right?
Yeah.
There you'll need your sunglasses at night. Sean and I just visited Berlin this weekend, and I'll tell you, man.
Really?
That place is something. Like, is something.
It's an experience, to say the least.
It is an experience, mate. Berlin is it's a vibe. It's an experience.
Do you guys go out after the half?
Yeah, we went out after the half. I'll tell you what happened, basically.
I'm keen to hear this.
We're running this Sunday, a half marathon of Berlin. Sean, me, and Ben.
Good times, by the way.
Thanks, mate.
Good times.
Appreciate it. We all put a solid effort down there.
Yeah.
Everyone got a personal best out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Huge.
Cheers. And we crossed the line, and already there, the first thing I'm having is a alcohol-free beer, an Erdinger. So already there, you're starting with the beers. I didn't drink probably water until we got home at midnight or something.
Even then, we didn't drink any water because we didn't have any water.
Right, the minibar was closed because the minibar was on me, so it was closed, absolutely closed. And we just went straight for pizzas, beers. After that, we went for the bakery, beers, and then more beers. Ended up in some doner kebab shop at 10
1
p.m.
a.m. and some. See, the thing is, in Berlin has the potential to be a lot more, and some of the other runners we were running with, they went to clubs with certain types of swings and whatnot.
Really? Okay.
And I think I'm actually quite happy we didn't go there.
No names, Sharon, for the rest of Monaco to...
Actually, they don't live in Monaco, unfortunately. They're all from Manchester, those ones.
Okay. Well, I mean, the names of the clubs.
I think the one the most people went to was the Kit Kat Club.
Kit Kat. Okay.
And
be careful. You've just notification from EasyJet.
Yeah.
Nice to Berlin flight sold out.
There you go. EasyJet will send you the invoice.
They will probably. They will.
Oh, sorry.
That's cool. I'm excited to follow the races in Berlin, but also in Monaco. That's sort of the next round as well, coming up real soon. A month's time or something. We're racing here. I'm
pumped for that. Every year, pretty pumped. It's nice going down the front straight and around the port now, seeing all these grandstands, knowing, they've put them up for us and then they've just kept them out for F1. Yeah, exactly. That's essentially what it is. That's essentially what it is. We'll be there on the grandstands, absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. But what's it like to race in Monaco? You're now living here. You're racing in the city. You said that you did also the street tracks quite a lot. I mean, Monaco is almost the least street style circuit for us because they do such a good job with the roads here. It's all retarmacs, fresh freshly sealed. So there's hardly any bumps. It's super high grip. The track's quite fast for an FE car. That it's almost one of the most, say, tracks that we have. We go to Sao Paulo, we go to Rome, we go to these, or India, and we're on some pretty crazy roads. Like there's some big jumps, bumps. It's hectic.
Have you seen an onboard camera? You will know what Nick's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, but it makes it super fun. And then you come to Monaco and everything's super smooth, really nice, and you're like, okay, well, this is a bit different. But no, it's an epic week. You sleep at home, you walk down to the track. It's easy to be too chilled, just because you're at home. Everything's pretty relaxed. But I'm looking forward to it, man.
How do you keep yourself on toes for that weekend then?
In what way? What do you mean?
I mean, just to make sure that come race day you are at your top. You be at home, you're in your, let's say, comfort zone to some way.
Yeah.
But you still got to make sure that when race day is here, you have that much more to give than the others, because you're at home. You can really prepare yourself.
Yeah, I think that's key, is to not leave anything at home that you normally wouldn't, and think, oh, it's fine because I can go back and get it, or you're pretty chilled. Still pack your bag like you normally would. Still go to the track like you normally would. Stay in that race mind. That's what I try to do. And then sleeping in your own bed and being at home, everything else just becomes an advantage and not a negative.
Yeah, it makes sense. I remember when I was, for example, competing with swimming, it would be so nice to have your own bed, but let's say the whole aspect of the competition would change dramatically from if I was staying at home or if I was at some hostel or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like my mindset would just be a bit more...
In a positive way?
In a positive way. Like if I was out, I would be a little bit more just like... just trying to be more prepared, a little bit harder on myself.
Okay, yeah.
A little bit trying to get all these small things prepared for the race. Whereas you say exactly, if you miss something from home, you can just go back and get it or something, like making sure you're prepared to every extent.
Same thing, yeah, true.
So that's cool. Where's your favorite place to race? And Macau was probably doing your time in Japan, I imagine, no?
I would say within Formula E, the past years I've really enjoyed New York. That's been for me. I love the city. The race, we were in Brooklyn on the port, so a little bit out, I guess, of the city. But the whole week leading up to it, like, it's hectic. It's fun. I really enjoyed it there. Monaco's pretty hard to beat, I think, as well. It's special because it's home, but it's also probably the most iconic, name and place. So yeah, those two are pretty big, I reckon.
Cool.
I know you're getting in Formula E, there's a lot of fans now. What's the weirdest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign?
Their tits.
Their tits? How does it feel just signing a pair of tits?
I wouldn't know, mate. No.
It's for everyone listening. Smart guy, this one, huh? Smart
PR
guy.
trained.
Yeah, very much so. You can definitely tell, 100%. That's funny.
All right, if you could build your team at the moment, an imaginary team, and you had to choose one celebrity to be your teammate to race with.
This is big.
What celebrity would that be?
I would choose Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Why?
Big name, probably common, not something out of the ordinary, I guess, but just got that persona, right? He's a bit of the man, the action sports dude.
Definitely. Yeah.
Who would you choose?
Yeah,
No,
what do you guys think?
I was actually just gonna say, because I remember Sean asking me a question on another episode where he's like something about some celebrities or something. Who would you want to play you as a celebrity or something? And I picked Tom Cruise.
I did.
I did pick Tom Cruise
Okay,
as well.
Okay.
So I could definitely see you two vibe as well, like just taking the piss out of the garage, just having a great time.
But it would be like it's an interesting question actually, because I don't think you can choose like an Adam Sandler. I don't think that's.
It would be weird.
You know what I mean? Like you've got to.
Yeah.
You gotta have it, guys. Yeah.
100%.
Who would you choose, Sean?
Probably Ryan Reynolds.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that one would just you'd have a great time.
He's funny, huh?
Hilarious.
He's funny.
That would actually be so funny to see you, Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, all right. Let's say they would make a movie out of you. Then
Okay.
who would play you?
That I don't know. I think you guys would be better to choose.
Who would you want to play you?
Oh man. I feel like you guys are gonna be waiting too long for me to come up with an answer.
I think someone to play you. Let's say it's the new Rush movie or something. You know, like some movie with you on one side and then I don't know.
You know who I'd want to play me? Mark Wahlberg.
That's cool.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's original.
He's like, I find, maybe he's more positive. He's more energetic than me, but I think he's a big dog, right?
I agree that he's a bit. I think it's interesting you say Mark Wahlberg because what comes to mind for me with Mark Wahlberg is this dude that is, you know, he's putting in the work every day. You know, he's up at 2 a.m. in his little gym, you know, working out.
He tells you about it. Yeah.
At least it tells you about it, yeah. But I mean, you can tell that the guy has something going for him and that he doesn't necessarily shout out what he's doing all the time, but he's putting in the work.
Yeah.
Then you have someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You know he'll be putting in that work every day, but you also know that he's doing that because he'll be everywhere or something like this. Yeah, but
he also couldn't play me, right?
He couldn't play you. So I would actually think that it's interesting because I'm sure you're putting in the work for your career, for your profession, but it's not something that you are actively, you know, posting everywhere, telling everyone, hey, I'm doing this, hey, I'm doing that. Like, for example, you were one of the guys that joined us for the running challenge here in Monaco. And mind you guys that this is 2 marathons in 2 days and Nick was doing it as a sort of a weekend activity in between races.
Yeah, but it didn't matter who you guys are. You guys are the machines. These guys have the pace.
I'm just thinking I could definitely tell you that Mark Wahlberg would be cool. It's a cool character actually.
Speaking about the 4x4x48, what was your kind of looking back at it? What was your high point? What was the low point?
Low point I think only stands out as the knees or actual physical limitation, because I feel cardio wise or on a decent run I can be quite okay, and that's what we do training wise, but I didn't expect that kind of, you know, you feel pain in weird areas, and I thought that probably that limits you, right? The last few runs. What I was actually really, really happy about was the fact that you messaged in a week before, and I was just like, all right, I'll do this. And I didn't really know the extent of the challenge or how much running it actually is, and then you kind of look at it and you go, holy shit, guys, this is a fair bit of running. Oh, actually, there's going to be no sleep. There's going to be, you know, and seeing you guys, the energy that you brought to it, you know, I'd arrived dead at 4 a.m. and you guys are speaker on, up, jumping, doing warm-ups and everything, you know, it gets you going, but it shows you as well that, hey, it doesn't matter, you know, probably never going to be more tired in my life, yet those things are achievable still in that state of mind. And I think we're all guilty of having a 10-hour sleep and waking up and going, oh, I'm tired, but actually that just proves to me that you're not. With, you know, you do 48 hours of running with an hour of sleep in between if you're lucky, and you feel pretty good. So that was a massive positive for me looking back at that and how it's changed how I feel for each day since then. I think you get a really good understanding of your body.
That's huge, mate. That's huge.
I don't know if that's correct or incorrect. That's how I feel. I don't know if you guys
absolutely.
felt the same thing.
No,
I
had that last year.
You guys done it twice now, right? That's the second time?
After the first time I did it, I just felt like I could really do anything after that.
Yeah.
It was like you wake up, and I know that you felt it as well. You wake up at 4 a.m. and you're like, Don't want to get out now. And then once you do, like, at what point of the at what point of the runs were you like, okay, this is actually fun? Did you ever have that point, or was it like until the end where it's like, ah?
No, it definitely was. I found it way better when we were together. I think there was a run, maybe 3 to go. I dropped off you guys, and you guys did a really good. You guys sprinted off. I think I did that one more or less solo. It was at the same pace that we'd been doing the others, but that was the point where you realize how nice it is running with a group of people.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the only thing that I took out of it as well. Whereas, you wake up at 4 a.m. You're like, oh shit, this is tired. You get there and you see everyone else, and you all joke about how tired you are, and it makes it fun straight away. You start laughing. There's music playing. There's police telling you to be quiet. And,
but then not complaining to all the drug dealing kids at the parking lot.
It's weird stuff happening at night in Monaco somewhere.
Yeah,
but it's true that when you share moments with others, it just becomes easier to do the stuff that isn't maybe too fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun to stand there at 4 a.m. trying to get warm.
Imagine doing it by yourself. Impossible.
Yeah,
not impossible. It's just harder.
No,
right?
but honestly, you
Yeah.
even have done the hard part, which is the staying home, sort of alone, waking up there, getting in the car by yourself, driving to the place, speaking yourself into it. Imagine at my place.
You guys had 12 of you staying there?
We had 8.
8,
we were 8 guys in one place.
Yeah.
There were no beds for everyone. There were no there were no bathrooms for everyone. But at least waking up, you would know that there would be one guy at least that would be pumped for the next run. And then it compounds.
I found as well, after every run, you guys were always the last to leave, first to arrive.
We tried. I'm so happy that you've noticed that, because that was really what we tried.
Completely.
We really tried to make sure that, if you would put the time aside to say, I'm going to spend my Friday night, Saturday and Sunday to trying to challenge myself, we would be putting in everything to make sure that you have a good time as well.
That was really appreciated. It was really cool.
Cheers, mate. Yeah. Cheers. Very kind. And I was just happy that you, for example, with everything going on, still wanted to take the time and spend 2 days doing one thing, which necessarily isn't going to directly improve your driving. But indirectly, maybe you can take something away from it. Could be cool.
Maybe. I think it's just nice to challenge yourself, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what you do. That's awesome, yeah.
And with 37 races entered so far in Formula E, the next challenge is up ahead for you. Race 38.
Dang, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Little fact there.
Okay, there we go.
I thought it was funny with your racing number.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for your race car? Does it have anything? No? Then what was your first car? Like your first car that was your own, you drove around?
So when I was living in the UK, just, I guess, financially, but I was living with my great auntie, and she had a Ford KA.
Yeah.
So I'd be driving that day to day, but I never owned a car. I was always I was on the bus. I was borrowing friends' cars, didn't have insurance, just being a complete idiot, and driving safely, but in terms of not having insurance and those kind of things, I was always just trying to get from A to B. And then in Japan, I bought a Porsche 997 Turbo as my first car.
Nice.
That was probably stupid, but felt cool.
You're just acting off Han from Tokyo Drift every night there after training.
And then become my daily ride. So then I had a really cool gym there. I think it also brought a lot of routine for my life. So my last 2 years, I was at a place. They only have athletes and models. Yep, models. But they do like everything to support my life outside of racing or your sport. So it's your recovery, it's nutrition. They have a good cafe there. They take the micronutrients of every bit of food and your lifestyle, and and then you've got your trainer and your training as well. So I'd be there from like 9 to 12 most days, and that's not always just 3 hours training. That's maybe 1 hour training and 2 hours something else, whatever it was. But I just loved driving across the bridge and driving to training in my car. Yeah.
Love that. Simple pleasures, you know.
Did you have a name for that car? No.
I do. It's when you're moving to Monaco, it's actually called a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. Monaco does have its faults there. It is a pain in the ass to drive around town.
Alright, so yeah, it ended up being something I had to sell within 2 weeks and get rid of. Yeah.
Fair enough. It's fair enough.
Oh, you brought it from?
No, I bought it in Japan. Was driving it there, but I sold it.
You left it there.
Sold it
All
there.
right, fair. That would have been quite the stint to get that over here.
Yeah. Well, we. I mean, I'm really happy with our lovely chat here.
Mate, if you're happy, I'm happy.
That's awesome. That's
If you
very
guys are
kind of
happy,
you as well.
I'm happy.
So we're all happy then, and with those happy vibes, maybe we shall see the episode off.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for joining us. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, mate. Appreciate it.
No, really cool having a chat. Yeah, it's awesome. Good fun. No, it's good fun.
Cheerio, mate.
It's nice. We have some good laughs.
Yeah, indeed. Well, in that case, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
And happy days. Ciao.